Chase Lehocky with the Blue Futon. Another movie I saw was Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Do you want to eat everything bagels after this one? Let's find out. Alright, so Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. What's it about? It is not a simple premise, guys. It is a multiverse movie that deals with rocks, martial artists, movie stars, bagels, laundromats, uh, uh, dildos, butt plugs, pinkies. It's a overload visual treat. And I'll put it that way. So with that, I will give you the negatives of the movie. Some of the humor drags on a little bit too long. There's, like I said, there's multiverse, so it's a lot of different things about Ratatouille. Yes, Ratatouille, but that's all I'm gonna say. And other jokes like that. And I think some of them stretch just a little bit too long where you're like, I understand what you're doing. We can stop now. We can stop that joke. But it continues on. Like with hot dog fingers. Listen, guys, this goes bonkers. That's all I'm gonna say. This is a bonkers movie where I will say some jokes are a little bit too long, and some of the pacing, I'm just like, can we keep going a little bit? Keep going a little bit. Especially there's a scene or a storyline with Michelle Yeoh, one of her multiverses characters, as her being an actress. I think that storyline goes a little bit. I understand why it's there, but I feel like that part is a little bit too long on some aspects of what the multiverse really is. So other than stories being like, hey, can we cut some a little bit here and there, as well as some of the jokes of like, okay, we understand what you're doing, calm down. I thought it was a fantastic movie. This felt like a Kung Fu Hustle type of movie, but a little more tame. I know that sounds weird with everything bagels, hot dog fingers, pinkies, Ratatouille, and stuff like that. You're like, how is this less bombastic than Kung Fu Hustle and stuff like that? But it is, just because it is a little bit more down to earth. Even though what I'm saying makes absolutely no sense, it's hard to not spoil this movie without spoiling it. And I refuse to spoil movies that have only been out for 3 weeks and it finally came out to wide release with this film. So what I liked about it, cinematography, the story is a lot more heartfelt. And how I said in my ambulance review is how there's an agenda for some movies. This has the same agenda to it. However, it is part of this story, so it works with the Chinese culture and everything like that. If you know anything about the Chinese culture and stuff like that with, gays, lesbians, they're not as upfront or as accepting as other cultures. Middle East? No. Dominican Republic? No. America? Yes. And people need to realize that, where there's other countries who are okay with it, other countries are not, and they kind of are not okay with it in the Chinese culture. Even in the Chinese culture, they're getting rid of sissy men. So like K-pop and stuff like that, China's kind of get rid of those genes. So when you have an agenda like this in the movie that makes the story go and actually has dialogue that says, okay, let's keep going, let's have an acceptance kind of thing, be kind to people, that agenda works and it's not overblown. And so with that, you can say, okay, it's part of the story and I understand why. So when you have agendas like that, like I said it again, that push the story into a positive direction, go for it, because it makes the story keep going and going, and it's not heavy-handed at any level, because this is a bonkers movie. Visually, great. Cinematography, great. There's something with two rocks. Hysterical. Hot dog fingers. I was a little disturbed. The Ratatouille. Hysterical. But a little bit long, in my opinion. But I'm just going all over the place with this movie because it's written. I don't know how you write this movie, guys. I don't know how you write this movie and how you edit this movie. The editing deserves an Oscar. If this doesn't get an editing Oscar, there is something wrong. I think it might be a foul move to have this a March/April opening, because this can be a Oscar-nominated movie. People say it could be Batman for cinematography and score. Sure, I mean, the score is fine. And people are like, what? to me, it's a Batman score. You've heard it in other Batman movies. It's just they switch a couple of the notes and you get the same shit. Here, the editing, and if you give like fucking Don't Look Up editing, and this doesn't get editing, fuck off. I'm gonna say that right now. Fuck off, Oscars. If you're not gonna give this editing, but you give it to like Don't Look Up, because the editing of the glass cracking, the whole multiverse things, going straight from like rock, going to different dimensions, going from the guy, Michelle Yeoh's wife is the kid from Goonies. He's back in the movie. He does a fantastic job. I could see him maybe getting a supporting actor or acting nomination for an Oscar because his range of emotions are just bonkers in this movie. So kudos for that as well. So I said the directing's great. The cinematography is pretty good. You know, some of this movie is dark. The humor, though, butt plugs. I'm gonna call it a butt plug fight scene. Holy fucking shit! Who thinks it? That's why I'm saying the writing and the editing of this movie is something out of this world, out of this multiverse. And what's gonna have a better multiverse movie? Doctor Strange or Everything Everywhere All at Once. So, I mean, this movie is so hard not to spoil without giving you information, and I refuse to spoil this movie, guys. I refuse. And hopefully I didn't for you guys, but Everything Everywhere All at Once, it's a great movie. Yes, there's some flaws. Some people are calling it a masterpiece. No, it's not a masterpiece to me. It is a fun time at the movies, though, and that is what you need. It hits the heartstrings. It hits the action strings. Hits the comedy strings. It is a mishmash, and it works. Is it too weird on some scenes? Absolutely. But the weirdness is what makes this movie. So Everything Everywhere All at Once will receive do I go for it or do I go? We're going with 5 out of 5, which gives you that 100%. Yeah, so this is a hard one because it could go in the 90s and it could go in the 100. 100 means perfect, in my opinion. Is it a perfect movie, though? It is not. The problem is I go on the scale of 90s and hundreds. I go increments of 10. Would I give it like a 9.75? Yes, but I don't do that. So it's going to the 100 tier. You got to round up on some levels. Yes, some of the jokes run a little bit long. Some of the pacing is just, a little okay. But I think I could get rid of those flaws and still give 100%. Just how bonkers this movie is and how it works. Movies like this need to be made more different. Different. I love different. So anyway, let's see the critics' news scores gave this one. So you have critics a 97%, audience score 94%, 177 critics, over 150 audience score. Here's critic consensus. Led by an outstanding Michelle Yeoh, Everything Everywhere All at Once lives up to this title with an expertly calibrated assault on the senses. I will have to disagree with something in this movie. I truly think Yeoh Quinn, if I'm saying that correctly, he is the one that makes the story go. He is the one. Michelle Yeoh does a fantastic job too, but I think his emotions and everything doing that, they're both great though. They're both great. Let's be honest. 97, 94, 100. Chase back with the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of Futontopia. You Booftonians. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Have you seen this movie? So far, April has been a solid month of movies, except for Morbius. Yeah, except for Morbius. What do we have coming out, guys? Since you're here, if you're still here with me, let's see what comes out this month. Father's 2, I want to see, but unfortunately, I'll be somewhere else. Maybe I'll go see it while I am in another part of the world. We have Father Stew, Fantastic Beasts, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talents, The Northman, Bad Guys. Oh, Hatching finally comes out at the end of the month. So if you can see Hatching, guys, see it the 29th of April. You won't be disappointed.